As she emerged from the dimly lit, damp passageways of the sewers, Aika's eyes widened in wonder as she beheld the sprawling cityscape before her. The towering buildings, reminiscent of ancient castles, loomed overhead like giants of stone, their weathered facades adorned with intricate carvings and moss-covered battlements. The streets below were a maze of winding paths and narrow stairways, weaving their way through the labyrinthine network of buildings. Each tower, resembling a turret of a long-forgotten fortress, rose majestically into the sky, its pointed roof adorned with crimson tiles that glinted in the sunlight. As she stepped onto the smooth dirt roads, Aika felt a sense of awe wash over her at the sight of the bustling city below. Merchants hawked their wares from stalls adorned with colorful banners, their voices blending with the lively chatter of passers-by. Children darted through the streets, their laughter ringing out like music amidst the hustle and bustle of everyday life. The air was thick with the aroma of sizzling street food and the fragrant scent of blooming flowers, carried on a gentle breeze that stirred the leaves of the towering trees that lined the streets. In the distance, the city stretched on as far as the eye could see, its skyline punctuated by the spires of grand cathedrals and the domes of ancient temples. Above it all, the towering structures rose like sentinels of progress, their sleek glass facades glinting in the sunlight. As Aika navigated through the bustling streets, she couldn't shake the feeling of unease that gnawed at the edges of her mind. Though the cityscape was a sight to behold, it served as a stark reminder of her own status as an outcast, a mere orphan in a world of wealth and privilege. People stared at her with disdain as she passed by, their eyes filled with judgment and scorn. Aika did her best to ignore their gaze, keeping her head held high as she made her way through the crowded thoroughfares. Eventually, she found herself standing before a modest shop nestled between two towering buildings. Its sign, weathered and faded, bore the words Adventurer's Emporium in bold, chipped letters. With a deep breath, Aika pushed open the creaking door and stepped inside, the scent of dust and old parchment filling her nostrils. The shopkeeper, a grizzled old man with a kind smile, looked up from behind the counter and nodded in greeting. "Welcome, young lady," he said, his voice warm and inviting. "What can I do for you today?" Aika approached the counter, her heart pounding with nervous anticipation. She reached into her pack and withdrew a small pouch, the contents jingling softly as she set it on the counter before the shopkeeper. "I have some items to sell," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Things I found in the dungeons." Aika carefully emptied her pouch onto the wooden counter, revealing her meager collection of finds. There was a collection of tarnished coins, their once shiny surfaces now dulled with age. Next to them lay a cache of rusted weapons and armor, relics of battles long forgotten. But it was the small pile of gems that caught the shopkeeper's eye. Each one glimmered softly in the dim light, reflecting the colors of the rainbow in their multifaceted surfaces. Aika had obtained them from the horrifying monsters she had faced in the depths of the dungeon, each one a hard-won prize. The shopkeeper picked up one of the gems, turning it over in his gnarled hands. "These are quite exquisite," he remarked, his eyes lighting up with interest. "I could offer you a fair price for them, if you're willing to part with them." Aika nodded eagerly, her heart fluttering with anticipation. She watched as the shopkeeper carefully examined each gem, muttering to himself as he assessed their quality and value. After a few moments, he looked up with a smile. "I can offer you 10 purple dorite for each," he said, placing a handful of purple crystal coins on the counter. "And for the other items?" He glanced at the rusty sword and the goblin's core, considering their worth. "I'll give you 5 red dorite for the sword, and 2 purple dorite for the goblin's core," he offered, sliding the coins across the counter towards Aika. "The currency in this city is ranked in 4 tiers: pearlescent, black, purple, and finally at the lowest red dorite. The currency is named after the city Heliodor by King Andrew." Aika's heart sank slightly at the modest sum, but she knew it was more than she had ever owned before. With a grateful smile, she scooped up the coins and tucked them away safely in her pouch. "Thank you," she said, her voice filled with genuine gratitude. "I appreciate your generosity." The shopkeeper nodded, his eyes twinkling with kindness. "Good luck on your future adventures, young one," he said, waving her farewell as she turned to leave the shop. As Ika stepped back out into the bustling streets of the city, she couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. Though her treasures may not have been worth much to others, they held immense value to her, a symbol of her resilience and determination in the face of adversity. With a newfound sense of purpose, she set off into the crowded streets, eager to continue her journey wherever it may lead.